Dorothy's rainy day trip to Browder's Books feels ordinary until she meets novelist also Barbara Thorndyke, whose sharp tongue and sharper intellect crack open a conversational universe Dorothy has craved since grad school. They volley references to Sartre, Pound, and the Cuban Missile poems of Robert Lowell, while other patrons wilt in second-hand erudition. Barbara caps the exchange by inviting Dorothy to an invitation-only reading at the Mortimer Club, a mahogany-paneled bastion of Miami's cultural elite. Dorothy floats home on cloud nine, cheeks pink at having found someone who not only understands her grammar jokes, but finishes them with Latin punchlines. Back at the bungalow, her excitement collides with domestic reality. Blanche is busy cataloging her latest emergency shoe purchases. Rose is writing sunshine-soaked scripts for hospital volunteers. And Sophia is grinding chickpeas for a suspiciously Sicilian hummus. When Dorothy announces she's made a brilliant new friend, the reception is lukewarm. Blanche perks up at the prospect of exclusive social circles. Rose wonders whether there will be sock puppet interludes. And Sophia mutters that any club requiring linen napkins and Latin quips is probably one biscotti short of a communion wafer. Dorothy sidesteps the skepticism. Her mind is already lingering in oak-scented libraries instead of the linoleum kitchen she currently occupies. Barbara's first visit to the house arrives wrapped in minimalist linen and a perfume that smells like expensive restraint. She surveys the floral couch and knick-knack shelves with an arched brow she calls observational, though it lands closer to condescending. Dorothy, blind to the subtext, practically tap dances with pride while serving Earl Grey in cups normally reserved for funerals. Barbara calls the bungalow delightfully provincial, a phrase that makes Blanche's southern spine straighten like rebar. Rose offers freshly baked honey butter cookies. Barbara demurs, claiming refined palates prefer less sugar, more subtlety. Trying to impress, Dorothy steers the talk to modernist poetry. Barbara enthusiastically dissects Eliot's Four Quartets until Rose interrupts with a St. Olaf story about a librarian who indexed Camus by pitch. The room chuckles, except Barbara, who delivers a thin smile and murmurs that folklore, like castor oil, should be taken in teaspoon doses. Blanche's eyebrow shoots north, Sophia's eyes narrow to espresso beans. Still, Dorothy clings to validation, missing the daggers glinting beneath each backhanded compliment. Before leaving, Barbara invites Dorothy alone to dine with real thinkers after her Mortimer reading. Blanche's lips purse like unripe persimmons. Rose quietly retracts her cookie plate. The Mortimer Club dazzles Dorothy. Tiffany table lamps, tuxedoed servers, and shelves lined with first edition spines. Barbara introduces her as a refreshingly erudite educator trapped in public school purgatory, a remark Dorothy somehow hears as praise. Publishers fawn, and by evening's end, Barbara sponsors Dorothy for membership, sealing the offer with vintage brandy that leaves her intellect and judgment slightly hazed. While Dorothy samples cultural nectar, Blanche drags Rose to a modern dance recital so they can claim equal sophistication. The performance involves dancers in burlap sacks spinning to the sound of squeaking rubber chickens. Blanche lasts 6 minutes before fleeing in stilettos, declaring even her worst blind date kept better rhythm. Rose applauds politely, loyal to art in any costume. They return home to find Dorothy glowing. When Rose timidly asks what Barbara read, Dorothy recites a line about existential brimstone but fumbles the explanation, realizing she only grasped half the metaphors. Sophia, who sat through a documentary on artisan bread instead, shrugs. At least bread ends with a loaf instead of footnotes. Days slide into weeks. Dorothy lunches on escargot with Barbara, while the others eat reheated lasagna. Barbara begins critiquing Blanche's romance novels, calling them literary cheese melted over male gaze cliches, and snarks that Rose's volunteer scripts are campy pablum fit for PTA bake sales. To maintain Barbara's approval, Dorothy laughs, a brittle tinkle that cracks Blanche's patience and bruises Rose's optimism. Sophia, whose Sicilian instincts smell arrogance like garlic, warns Dorothy that pedestals become gallows if you forget to duck. Barbara's contempt finally extends beyond words. At a small press signing, Rose asks for a personalized copy to auction for the Children's Hospital. Barbara refuses, declaring charity auctions debase art through bargain bids. Even Dorothy stiffens, but Barbara smooths her ego by whispering, "I'll sign one for you, my bright desert flower," inscribing, to Dorothy, proof brilliance survives among sand. The compliment feels less sweet after Rose emerges empty-handed and embarrassed. That night, Blanche finds Rose rearranging her couch keys, cow trinkets, for comfort. Blanche vows to bring Dorothy back to Earth, even if it means clipping Barbara's literary wings mid-flight. The Mortimer Club's black tie banquet honoring Barbara becomes the battlefield. Blanche and Rose aren't on the guest list. Barbara pleads limited seating while ushering in socialites dripping with pearls. During Barbara's toast, she jokes that corn-fed Midwesterners think Tolstoy is a garden tool, casting a pointed glance at Rose, who's stuck watching from a TV feed in the coat room. Dorothy's stomach knots. The mask falls and reveals pure condescension. Rising, she quotes jazz legend Charlie Parker. "If you don't live it, it won't come out your horn," then pivots to Barbara. "And if you don't live kindness, your words are just noise." Gasps ripple. Dorothy rescinds her application, leaves her linen napkin folded like a white flag, and exits to find Blanche and Rose sharing cheesecake out of a thermos in the lobby. They welcome her with forks and forgiveness. A week later, Barbara's new release invitation arrives, gold embossed. Dorothy mails it back with Rose's hospital fundraiser flyer inside, suggesting a donation in honor of genuine connection. Blanche celebrates by reading the raciest line from her own dog-eared romance novel. Barbara isn't the only one who can elicit heart palpitations. Rose pens a new volunteer script where a snooty author is saved from loneliness by 3 cheesecake-bearing angels. Sophia volunteers to play all roles. That night, the girls toast their reclaimed harmony with strawberry-topped cheesecake. Dorothy admits a doctorate in sarcasm means little without a minor in humility. Blanche toasts down-home allies over highbrow acquaintances. Rose raises her glass to stories that welcome everyone. Sophia closes with Sicilian wisdom. Better to eat pasta with peasants than caviar with snakes. Laughter, warm, unedited, and unequivocally real, fills the bungalow, proving any club worth joining fits around one kitchen table.